Climate change poses a major threat to the current and future generations. County governments have put in place initiatives to help communities mitigate the effects of climate change. On solid waste management, county governments have enacted requisite legislation to align with the transition from a linear to a circular economy. This promotes waste reduction at the source, waste recycling and composting, and conversion of waste to energy. For instance, Nakuru County is making charcoal briquettes from solid and liquid human waste.
Here we manage both the solid waste and the liquid waste to convert fecal sludge into fuel briquettes. A ton of these briquettes is an equivalent to 88 trees. So when people get to use these briquettes, they save environment.
Counties have entered into intergovernmental agreements with the national government to provide affordable housing for Kenyans. Zablon Musungu is a beneficiary.
Na shukuru sana, hata mali nalala sijui Mungu ndiye anajua. Na shukuru nilala usingizi ambao ni ya mwaka.
In education, county governments have heavily invested in ECD centers and employed many ECD teachers and caregivers. This has improved learning conditions for the little ones. Some counties have established feeding programs that have significantly improved the enrollment and retention of the children.
The population early childhood education was only 30,000, and as we speak today, the population in ECD has grown to 125,000. We also provide them with the porridge or some snacks. We made ECD education in the county purely free.
County governments have set up ICT hubs and vocational training centers in various parts of the country. The main objective of these projects is to equip the youth with relevant skills and competencies to meet the needs of the labor market.
We would put the young people together. We introduce computers. We also provide internet.
They can use all the equipment, online classes which are free.
Devolution has indeed brought transformation in the lives of millions of Kenyans. Deeper consultation, collaboration, coordination, and cooperation is needed to build on the gains made for the next decade.
I'm privileged to attend the Devolution conference. I've been attending them since 2013, and I can see a lot of improvement on this one. The organization is superb, and we are happy. And I'm particularly impressed by the address by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, on what he said, the support to devolution, the disbursement of funds to devolved units, and particularly to unleash the remaining devolved functions to the counties.
Devolution inafanya kazi kwa sababu kila kitu imekuja ground.
We are excited about being the host of the first biannual conference, with the theme being 10 years of devolution.
We call upon both the national government and county governments to take the following concrete steps. On devolution and children's rights, review all laws and policy to ensure universal access to children's rights, leaving no one behind, especially teenage girls who fall pregnant while in school.
Devolution has been a cornerstone of our efforts to bring governance closer to the people, empower our counties, and catalyze economic growth from the grassroots up, that is bottom up.
We should spend the entire allocation on development positively, contribute towards the country's growth and service delivery.
The discourse in this conference will revolve around Kenya's devolution journey since 2013, the ups and downs, the slips and the skips, the challenges and the triumphs.
I want to take this early opportunity to commend the Council of Governors. You have been able to find a way around our sometimes toxic and divisive politics. You have been able to create a leadership that looks past party and political differences and moves you forward as a team. 10 years into devolution, Kenya is a much transformed landscape with an amazing opportunity for rural economic revival and transformation.
Welcome each and every one of you to Health Breakaway session.
Further, it is important to note that although health sector functions are assigned to both levels of government, much more success is realized when the two levels of government collaborate. According to the 2022 KDHS, 9 in every 10 mothers who give birth do so under care of trained healthcare workers, up from 66% in the year 2014. Over the same period, the under 5 mortality rate improved from 52 deaths per 1,000 births to 41 deaths per 1,000 births, while the infant mortality rate improved from 39 to 32 per 1,000 births. Digitalization of health services can help us reap more results as we move forward.
As we deliberate, let us keep in mind the symbiotic relationship between the current and the future. Our commitment to youth empowerment today isn't just about them, it's about the sustainable legacy we graft for generations to come.
If you have no register, if you do not know your assets, whether it is water, whether it is land, whatever it is, the fear that it will be used badly or misused or privatized will not end with the lack of register.
It's not only Kenya or Africa that is threatened. The world is threatened, and our action today is what will really be able to address the problem of food in the future. And for that matter, there is need for us to work very closely and come up with a proper food system that is sustainable, that will be able to feed the ever-growing population.
After a long clamor for a governance system that would redistribute resources equitably and promote efficient, effective, and quality service delivery in Kenya, the country through a referendum promulgated the current constitution, which adopted 2 levels of government, comprising of the national government and 47 county governments. The Council of Governors commissioned the development of a book dubbed Devolution in Kenya, a journey from centralized to devolved governance under the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The book traces Kenya's decentralization journey from the pre-independence to the post-independence era. The book also captures the intrigues of the transition between 2010 to 2013 by taking stock of the policy, legislative, and institutional frameworks that had to be put in place to transition from a centralized system to county governments. The book samples successes in service delivery that have been documented in the various devolved sectors, highlights challenges faced in implementation of the devolved system of government, and makes policy recommendations aimed at strengthening devolved units. The book concludes by proposing measures to be adopted to strengthen devolved governments. The Council of County Governors is elated to present this masterpiece that will be a reference point on the devolution journey for this and future generations. We invite you to pick a copy and enjoy the read.
The Joint County Bankable Investment Projects Handbook presents an overview of some of the investment opportunities across the 47 county governments in Kenya. The handbook presents a summary of investment opportunities, key priority projects, and the untapped investment opportunities. The development of this handbook was a deliberate effort of the Council of Governors and county governments. The handbook incorporates investment opportunities across sectors, including agriculture, trade, industry and cooperatives, tourism and hospitality, health, water and natural resource, education, blue economy, land, infrastructure and energy sectors. These key investment prospects span up to a period of 5 years and are aligned with the county development frameworks and the national vision and agenda. This handbook is more than just ink on paper. It is a commitment by county governments to spearhead local economic development. As we unveil its potential, we call upon the private sector, development partners and the national government to join hands with us on this transformative journey. Together, we can breathe life into these opportunities. The handbook serves as a valuable tool to inform and attract investors from Kenya and beyond. By doing so, it paves the way for the establishment of industries, the creation of more job opportunities, and the generation of additional income for the citizens across the counties. Let us embrace this county bankable investment handbook as a guiding beacon towards a brighter future where opportunities abound and success knows no bounds.
Hello, my name is Amanda. I am 10 years old as Devolution in Kenya. Before I was born, everything was being done in Nairobi. This made it difficult for children from other parts of the country to get services such as health, education, and clean water. But when making the 2010 Constitution, Kenyans, including children, said it is important to have services available to everyone and everywhere. So, the country was divided into, can you guess how many counties? Yes, 47 counties as shown on this map. In 2013, during the general elections, Kenyans voted for their first governors, deputies and MCAs. So this year, all county governments are 10 years old, just like me. On health, counties have made it easy for us to get healthcare. It is easy to get doctors, nurses and medicine in clean and well-equipped hospitals. Mandera County, for example, has made efforts towards improved access to maternity services, increased referral hospitals from 1 to 3, and constructed new modern maternity wards. Nakuru County constructed a new 250-bed maternity wing at the Nakuru Level 5 Hospital to meet the demands for safer deliveries and provide specialized care to children born with complications. My younger brother got his jab to protect him from polio and TB.
The areas in which these children can't get access to vaccination, so it has been a really great impact to children so that they can get immunized at school.
We have a lot of areas where it is the risk of the children getting sick is very high, and since the vaccination program came, the risk was getting a bit low.
How many of you have been vaccinated from polio and TB? All of us. Awesome. Can we give a clap to the county governments? Thank you. On education, talking of my younger brother, the county government has made sure he has a beautiful school with really good teachers and lots of toys and books.
We bought tables, chairs, charts.
It has helped in building ECD classes, employing the teachers of ECDE in a girls' school. It has helped in giving the girls sanitary towels.
77% of children who are supposed to be in schools are enrolled in early learning centers. Also, the county works with the Ministry of Education to make sure those of us who don't have money are able to go to schools by providing scholarships.
I'm a beneficiary of county. I'm being sponsored by county since I finished my class 8 KCP.
Something awesome that counties have also done is to make sure all children go to school, even those who are differently abled. They have done this by improving the construction and renovation of schools, parks, and recreational centers with features such as ramps, handrails, and accessible toilets to ensure children with disabilities can navigate these spaces independently.
Since devolution began, Kenyans have enjoyed essential services which have been brought near them.
The digital space is our new reality. To ensure that we are prepared for this new world, county governments provide training programs to students including children in pre-primary, teachers and community members with the aim of enhancing their digital skills.
The county government has improved service delivery by introduction of new learning materials which involve technology like the tablets we use in the resource room.
We cannot learn if we are hungry. Our governors are very caring and so they have ensured that we have food in schools. For example, the Garissa County government gives children a meal every day. The county government of Nairobi has started a program called Dishi Poa for all children enrolled in public primary schools and public ECDE centers.
Huku Garissa County government imesaidia watoto kulipia fees, pia imesaidia kuwapea chakula na inasaidia watoto wenye hawana wazazi mayatima.
In agriculture, where does food come from? From the farms. To ensure we have food, county government are teaching us to farm by making sure that agriculture is part of our ECDE programs. We learn about farming techniques, crop cultivation, and sustainable agricultural practices.
Agriculture is beneficial to the county as it brings about food stability. With the food stability, it can cause children to get proper nutrition as they will be provided with the proper diet.
We cannot have food in our farms if we don't have rain. And rain comes from, yes, trees. County governments have been holding tree planting events in schools and other public areas and involving children who take care of these trees within their schools. The counties have created a good environment for our parents to work. Sometimes we accompany our parents to their workplaces, including markets. To ensure our safety and well-being, county governments have established child-friendly facilities within markets. These facilities include designated play areas, child-friendly restrooms, and safe spaces for children to engage in age-appropriate activities while their parents or guardians work. In the next 10 years, I believe that Kenya will
Tunapojiandaa kuketi, nitamwomba Daktari Mbwarali Kemoi tukaribia ili tuweze kupata maombi baada ya studio kutupatia wimbo wa taifa na ule wa Jumuiya ya Mashariki studio.
Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Your Excellency, sir, with the kind permission, ladies and gentlemen. may we all be seated. I wish to invite Dr. Mborali Kemoy to lead us in a word of prayer. Dr. Mborali.
Let us pray. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilus salihat. Wa tawasaw bil haqq. Wa tawasaw bis sabr. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Thank you. The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Speaker of Senate, Honorable Amason Kingi, the Chairperson of the Council of Governors, and also the Kirinyaga Governor, High Excellency Anne Waiguru, all governors and leadership of COG, all senators, all principal secretaries present, all organizers, national and international partners, county government officers, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, it is indeed a great pleasure to host you during this 8th Devolution Conference that marks and takes stock of 10 years of devolution with the theme, Driving Transformation from the Local Level with the county governments at the center of economic development. Your Excellency, sir, this ceremony this afternoon with all members present has been a successful week-long event that has culminated with a lot of solution-seeking, way forward, and of course, sharing best practices across all 47 counties across this country, Your Excellency. At this juncture, we will be hearing more of the resolutions and also the input from various stakeholders presented here. And at this juncture, I wish to invite our host governor, Uasin Gishu Governor Jonathan B., to make his welcoming remarks and get us through the next program. Your Excellency, sir.
Asante sana, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of Kenya. Let me adopt the protocol as it has been since we began this meeting. And all the people, good afternoon. Chamge. Now today, I stand before you as your host governor, filled with gratitude as we reflect upon an outstanding devolution conference that has left an indelible mark on our hearts. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to our County of Champions. And I've been telling everybody, karibu, karibu, karibu. And I'm told we are closing the meeting and I'm still saying karibuni. On behalf of Uasin Gishu County Government, I extend a heartfelt thank you to all the participants who have embraced the spirit of this conference and contributed to its resounding success. The intentional theme, 10 years of devolution, the present and the future, has not only been a guiding light, but has become a reality that we can all proudly celebrate. Throughout our intensive engagements, we have delved into the remarkable strides and gains that have shaped our devolved units. Equally important, we have confronted the challenges that continue to impede our progress. What is truly heartening is that we have not only identified these hurdles, but have also crafted pragmatic solutions and that are tailored to overcome them. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtains on this captivating and enlightening conference, I am compelled to acknowledge the abundance of fruitful engagements we have witnessed. To our delegates and visionary leaders, it is my sincere hope that our hospitality has proven to be a gracious host to you all. As we approach the conclusion, it is our hope that our efforts have not only met but exceeded your expectations. I hope I'm saying the truth. Leaving you with a sense of reality that mirrors on our own. This timely conference has woven itself into the fabric of our country's narrative. And for this, we are profoundly thankful. Even Mama Mboga and the humble border industry have felt the reverberation of your presence, underscoring the tangible impact of devolution in its purest form. Your Excellency, I extend our heartfelt appreciation to the Council of Governors, led by indomitable Governor Anne Waiguru as chairperson, and the tireless efforts of CEO Mary Mwiti. The exceptional leadership has truly set the standard for excellence. And I just learned that Waiguru is the 5th chair after when we started Devolution. I think the first one was Ruto, Isaac, and then Wells, and then another one. And then the last one, the 4th one was Nanok, and then you are the 5th. And you are in the 5th city, which is coming to be very soon, and we have the 5th president from this backyard. Today, in expressing our appreciation, I also extend sincere gratitude to the state, led by our President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, and to our Deputy President, present today, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. Today's joint communique reflecting the spirit of unity and collaboration makes the inception of our collective journey towards implementing our comprehensive report. To every participant who has invested time, knowledge, and energy in this conference, your contributions are invaluable. Together, we are not merely shaping our better future for our devolved units, but we are carving a legacy of progress and prosperity. In conclusion, let us all carry the torch ignited by this conference with us, fostering collaboration, progress, and unshakable belief that the future holds boundless possibilities in our counties, with a firm belief that devolution is here to stay and devolution works. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. Allow me to invite our Vice Chair, COG, to read the resolutions of this conference. Asanteni sana, asanteni sana.
Our chief guest, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, all protocols observed. Your Excellency, may I also take this opportunity to welcome you to be our chief guest and to close this conference for us in line with the practice of the devolution conferences we've had. We are happy and glad that you've found time to be with us here today. Your Excellency, mine is to read the joint communique. So this is the joint communique at the end of the Devolution Conference 2023, held from 15th to 19th of August 2023 at Elred Sports Club, Uasin Gishu County. Preamble. The Devolution Conference 2023 was held from 15th to 19th August 2023 at Eldoret Sports Club, Washingitu County. The conference was convened jointly by the Office of the Deputy President, represented by the State Department of Devolution, the Council of Governors, the Senate, the host county, Washingishu, and the County Assemblies Forum. These marked the beginning of the biennial devolution conferences. The devolution conference made the following resolutions in line with the theme of 10 years of devolution, the present and the future, and the sub-theme, driving transformation from local level, county government as the center of economic development. Resolution number 1, both levels of government, development partners, and the private sector shall in all sectors synergize their efforts and adopt a coordinated approach to partnerships and implementation of projects and programs to avoid multiplicity of efforts. And the action is national government, county government, development partners, private sector. 2, county government shall support adoption and scaling up of creative resolutions. County government shall adopt, I read that again, county government shall support adoption and scaling up of creative solutions by providing a conducive environment and incubation centers through budgetary allocation and technical support. Action, county governments, development partners, private sector. 3, both levels of government shall review the legislative framework to enhance the autonomy of county assemblies to strengthen their oversight role. Action, Senate, National Assembly, Council of Governors, State Department of Devolution, and County Assemblies Forum. 4, the national government shall create a policy framework for anchoring digitization to support operationalization of programs in all sectors, including health, agriculture, trade, and blue economy. Action, Ministry of ICT, Council of Governors, county governments, private sector. 5, both levels of government shall ensure proper coordination between the ICT departments to ensure full automation of supportive departments such as security, energy, water, and transport, among others. Action, Ministry of ICT, Council of Governors, county governments, and the private sector. 6, county governments shall ensure their own source revenue through supportive policies and automation of systems in order to enhance transparency in revenue collection. Action, the National Treasury, Kenya Revenue, Council of Governors, and the Senate. 7, both levels of government shall enhance and sustain performance management as a tool of strengthening effective service delivery. Action, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, National Government Ministries, Departments and Agencies, Council of Governors, and county governments. 8, both levels of government shall explore entrenching division of revenue between the national and county governments on the projected budget for the year as opposed to using the last audited accounts. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, the Senate, National Assembly, and the Commission on Revenue Allocation, CRA. 9, thank you. 9, Parliament shall fast-track the enactment of various laws before both houses that support the devolved functions in all sectors. Action, Senate, National Assembly, and county assemblies. 10, all devolved functions currently being carried out by national government ministries, agencies, and departments shall be transferred to the county governments within 60 days, together with the attendant resources. Action. Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee, the Council of Governors, all ministries, departments, and agencies. 11. Both levels of government shall promote transparency and accountability through multi-pronged, innovative approaches within the existing policy framework. Action. Commission on Administrative of Justice, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, county governments, Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Office of the Auditor General, and Office of the Controller of Budget. 12. Both levels of government shall promote economic empowerment of the marginalized groups by adhering to the statutory reporting guidelines on the opportunities created for the marginalized groups through the access to government procurement opportunities, AGBO. Action. All ministries, departments, and agencies, county governments, Council of Governors, National Treasury, and the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. 13. Both levels of government shall design programs to facilitate the prevention and elimination of gender-based violence and promote the reintegration of teenage mothers into the formal school system. Action. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Art, Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, Ministry of Health, county governments, development partners. On housing planning and urban development, resolution number 14. Both levels of government shall fast-track regularization, automation, documentation, and registration of land, while also bridging the gender gap in land ownership. Action. Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, Ministry of Public Service, Gender and Affirmative Action, county governments, Council of Governors, development partners, and the Ministry of ICT. 15. Both levels of government shall review or develop frameworks to facilitate provision of green housing, including the housing policy, the national land policy, energy planning standards, and county-specific policies on land and housing. Action. Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, county governments, Council of Governors, development partners, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, the Senate, and the National Assembly. 16. A framework shall be developed to establish and operationalize the National Urban Development Fund as provided for in the National Urban Development Policy. Action. Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, the National Treasury, Senate, county governments, Council of Governors, and the development partners. On investments, resolution number 17, a database of all micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs, shall be developed to promote linkages between the investors and the MSMEs. Action. Micro and small enterprises organizations, the Council of Governors, private sector, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs. 18. Both levels of government shall engage and harmonize investment initiatives in line with their development plans. Action. Micro and small enterprises organizations, Council of Governors, private sector, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, Ministry of Cooperatives and SMEs. On the blue economy sector, resolution number 19, both levels of government shall align county blue economy policies to the national blue economy policy that was adopted from the blue economy concept of the African Union. Action. Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, county governments, and the Council of Governors. 20. Both levels of government shall increase investment in research and development to improve efficiencies in the blue economy sector. Action. Ministry of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, county governments, the Council of Governors, development partners, and the private sector. On health service delivery, resolution number 21, county governments shall increase investments in primary health care, including community health care services, in order to step up preventive and promotive health services. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, and the national government. 22, county governments shall strengthen collaboration between public and non-state actors in health for resource optimization and improved service delivery. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, development partners, faith-based organizations within the health sector, and private sector actors. Resolution number 23, efforts to eliminate disease-based and align health programs in order to reduce duplication, build efficiencies, and strengthen one integrated health system shall be heightened. Action, Council of Governors, county governments, the national government, and private sector, and development partners as well. On strengthening of food systems, resolution number 24, agriculture shall be prioritized by investing 10% of budgets at both levels of government into food systems. Action, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, county governments, private sector, development partners. Number 25, county governments shall develop innovative products to ensure farmers get access to credit facilities and attract the youth to engage in farming. Action by county governments, private sector, and development partners. 26, the National Treasury shall rationalize the taxes on agricultural goods to make them more competitive in the market. Action, National Treasury, Ministry of Trade and Livestock Development, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. On green economy transition in counties, resolution number 27, a paradigm shift in the production systems shall be explored and resources secured by mapping the resources and developing a national resource register, undertaking economic evaluation, putting in management systems, and creating incentives to better conserve the environment. Action, Ministry of Water, National Treasury, county governments, development partners, private sector. Resolution number 28, both levels of government shall engage with indigenous communities for intergenerational knowledge transfer through climate change storytelling. Action, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. Resolution number 29, both levels of government shall invest in alternative sources and promote farm forestry and incentives to grow trees at community level. Action, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry, county governments, private sector, development partners, and the Council of Governors. On empowering youth for inclusive economic growth, resolution number 30. Both levels of government shall enable a conducive environment for youth to carry out business by ensuring reasonable fees and levies for permits, especially for content creators wishing to access and use public spaces. Action, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, county governments, private sector, development partners. Resolution number 31. Both levels of government shall address mental health issues rampant among youth arising from issues that affect them, such as drugs, suicide, abuse, unemployment, domestic violence, by developing and implementing already existing frameworks. Action is required of Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and the Arts, county governments, the private sector, and development partners. On the recommendations of the Children's Conference 2023, the communique that arose from the Children's Conference, as read by the Children's Governor and Deputy Governor yesterday, is adopted as is, and the resolutions will be implemented by the stakeholders identified. And that communique is annexed herein. Further details of the resolutions captured herein will form part of the final conference report. The implementation of the above resolutions shall be monitored and reported by all stakeholders every 6 months over the next 2 years, and progress reported during the next devolution conference. Action is required on that on the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the Chair of the Council of Governors. Finally, the next biennial devolution conference shall be held in 2025 at a venue and a date that will be communicated after consultation with all stakeholders. This communique is signed by the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency FCP Ahmed Abdullahi, co-chair of the first biennial devolution conference and the Vice Chair of the Council of Governors, the Right Honorable Amason Kingi, EGH, co-chair of the first biennial devolution conference and the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Philemon Sebulei, chairperson, County Assemblies Forum. I thank you all. Your Excellency, next I will invite on stage the Senator of Nyandarua County, Honorable John Matthew, representing the Senate Majority Leader. Honorable John Matthew.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, the Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Amason Jeffa Kingi, the Chairperson of the Council of Governors, Governor Anne Waiguru, the Honorable Governors present, my colleague members of Parliament, both from the Senate and the National Assembly, the Honorable Speakers and members of the County Assemblies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and representatives of the development partners and agencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am reading these remarks on behalf of the leader of the Majority Leader of the Senate, Senator Aaron Cheriot, and I wish to make the following remarks. It gives me great honor and privilege to have been part of the Devolution Conference 2023. I would like to take this earliest opportunity to congratulate the Council of Governors, the Senate, the National Assembly, members of the county assemblies, development partners and agencies, resource persons and all stakeholders for making this conference a success. I would also wish to extend my utmost gratitude to the host governor of Uasin Gishu and the great people of Uasin Gishu who have made our time here very memorable. When the history of Kenya is written, the revolutionary role of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which sets us on the path of devolution, will be a seminal chapter in the Kenyan history. In essence, there is Kenya before devolution and Kenya after devolution. 10 years on, we have seen the immense political, social, and economic impact that devolution has had on the lives of the people of Kenya. The transformation is evident, and as Kenyans, we ought to take pride in the tremendous achievements enabled by devolution. Your Excellency, this conference, from this conference, various pertinent issues have been canvassed. Valuable lessons and experiences have been shared. Opportunities have been identified and areas of improvement have been noted. As a partner in the devolution journey and the foremost protector of counties' interests in the national level, The Senate has taken note of the resolutions that have emerged from the various discussions at the plenary and in the sector breakaway sessions. Some of the key issues which would require intervention by the Senate would include: number one, ensuring the equitable allocation to county government is enhanced and dispersed within statutory timelines. Number two, the transfer of all outstanding functions and resources by the national government. Your Excellency, we are very happy that that is not contested. The President has agreed to that, and the Council has agreed to it. Number three is enhancing the financial autonomy of the county assemblies to improve the oversight and accountability, among other proposals, which again is uncontested. Additionally, there were several proposals for legislation which include a framework to enhance county-owned source revenue. One of the proposals in this regard was to encourage counties to leverage on non-traditional revenue resources, among them grain bonds. A review on the legal framework on the public-private partnerships to respond to the needs of the counties. Number three, a framework on performance management in the county public service to improve service delivery. Number four, a framework on funding and execution of shared functions between the two levels of government, among other proposals. Your Excellency, sir, and my colleague delegates, some of the sector-specific proposals that call for the intervention of the Senate will include: number one, engaging Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, and the county government in setting minimum standards for electricity and gas reticulation, which is a devolved function under the 4th schedule of the Constitution. Number two is developing a harmonized policy on digitization to facilitate service delivery, digital entrepreneurship, efficiency and effectiveness of the government. Tied to this, it emerged that there is a need to put up a place in the legislative framework to protect critical infrastructure, for example, telecommunication masts and fiber optic cables, which are repeatedly vandalized. Number three is putting in place a legislation to promote the government housing agenda. And finally, harmonization and integration of taxes, licenses, and levies by the county, at the county level. Many of the proposals emerging from this forum are in line with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda of the government, which at its core seeks to, among others, reduce the cost of living, increase employment, incentives in investment and production, enhance tax base for more revenue, and increase foreign exchange earnings. We can all agree that devolution is the catalyst for Kenya to unlock its full potential and accelerate development. The Senate will continue to advocate for adequate financing of the county governments, passage of enabling legislations, and full transfer of devolved functions and attendant resources. Additionally, the Senate undertakes to prioritize the resolutions emerging from this forum and to work with all stakeholders to realize the dream of devolution. Success of the next phase of devolution will be majorly dependent on the good governance structures. The Senate will continue to exercise its oversight role over funds allocated to counties to ensure that the objects of devolution espoused in the Article 74 of the Constitution are met. Your Excellency, sir, in conclusion, I urge all Kenyans and the media to be patriotic and emulate the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Meg Whitman, in speaking good about our country. Kenya is our home. Kenya is our home. Do not get distracted by those who condemn the friends of Kenya. Do not keep quiet. Do not shut up. Stand up for Kenya. Stand up for your motherland. Kenya is on the move. With those very few remarks, Your Excellency, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Methu. Your Excellency, next I'll call upon His Excellency Governor Stephen Sang, Governor of Nandi County, and the Whip of the Council of Governors to give a vote of thanks.
Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellencies, Governors, colleagues, all our delegates, my responsibility is very brief to give a vote of thanks First, I take this opportunity on behalf of the Council of Governors to first and foremost thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, His Excellency, the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, for honoring our invitation and being present during this conference. Your commitment and zeal to the success of devolution is appreciated. The Right Honorable Speaker of the Senate, Kingi, we want to appreciate and thank you for your commitment, participation, and leadership in ensuring that this conference is a success. May I also extend our appreciation to Right Honorable former Prime Minister Raila Odinga for continuously honoring our invite for the last 8 years of the Devolution Conference. Allow me, in a special way, to recognize the exemplary work by the steering committee, the planning committee, and all the other stakeholders represented here. You took your time to meticulously plan for this special event that led to a very successful conference. Asanteni sana. A special thank you to the host governor, Jonathan B., and your team from Uasin Gishu County Government for your warm hospitality. We leave Uasin Gishu County with fond memories, having enjoyed Mursik and a vibrant nightlife as you had promised us. To fellow governors, our esteemed senators, our valued deputy governors, our speakers, our members of the county assemblies, thank you for staying on through the discussions. I hope the delegates were able to interact with all of us closely. We also are grateful to the national government representatives led by the CSS, the PSS, and top government officials who put in resources and took time to participate and contribute in the discourse that will shape the agenda for the next 2 years. We value your presence and support and contributions. Asanteni sana. To the Senate football team, our worthy competitors, who showed Devolution family that it takes commitment, practice, discipline to emerge champions on the course. We are still waiting for the investigations on how you beat us to be concluded, but what we can promise you is that we will be back bigger, better, and stronger in the next Devolution Conference. And Your Excellency, part of the suggestions that have been given about that curtain raiser in the next Devolution Conference is that it is good for us, even as we do our pre-conference events, that we observe the constitutional dictates so that we compare and pair mangoes with mangoes, oranges with oranges. So we are going to have 2 teams in the next Devolution Conference. The Senate will square it out with the county assemblies in the counties, and then the COG will square it out with your office and the constitutional commissions. So Your Excellency, the Deputy President, prepare for that match. We will sort you out at the national government, at the executive level, so that then the senators can deal with the county assembly, so that legislators can work with the legislators, the executive can deal with themselves at that level. To our sponsors, we cannot thank you enough. We could not have held this conference successfully without your immense support and partnership. Our platinum sponsors, USAID, KCB, Amrev Health Africa, and Safaricom, asanteni sana. To our Gold Plus sponsors, FAO and EU, asanteni sana. Our gold sponsors, CPF and UNICEF, we appreciate you. Our silver sponsors, Love Fund, KEMSA, and Kenya Pipeline, we appreciate your support. Our bronze sponsors, Cooperative Bank, UNAIDS, UNDP, and AGRA, asanteni sana. Category sponsors, World Bank, Communications Authority, Tony Blair Institute, Medotronic Labs and NITA, and all other partners, including UN Women, National Bank, Farm Access, Media Council of Kenya, EcoBank, CBM, EPRA, KNCCI, UKAID, represented by ACT, JPIEGO, UN Habitat, Campaign Coalition, World Health Organization, Moi University, KenGen, Jambojet, Kenya Airways, and the National Syndemic Disease Control Council. Asanteni sana. To the partners who supported the Devolution Warrior Awards, Kericho Gold, and Carter Watches, Lux and Alua, Plain Chick, thank you so much. To Eldoret Sports Club, for the lovely grounds that you gave us and the full support during the conference, tunasema asanteni sana. To Hill School, thank you for providing us with ample parking space and space to register all the over 9,000 guests this year. Asanteni sana. To our vendors and suppliers, you kept us with our demands during the preparations, but also stood with us. You have been patient with us. We are truly grateful for your dedication for the last few days. We appreciate you, and asanteni sana. To all our delegates, you are truly friends of Devolution. We will not, and we do not take it for granted. Please receive our deepest and sincere gratitude. This conference would not have been successful without your presence and participation. Pigia our makofi to all our delegates. It is the rich discussions here that have led to the comprehensive communique that has just been read. Our task now is to follow up and keenly work towards implementation of those resolutions. Devolution must continue to work. Again, thank you all for your contributions to the first biannual Devolution Conference. As you depart your various destinations, may the Almighty God go before you. Kongoi, Kongoi, asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, Governor Sang. Your Excellency, next I'll invite the Speaker of the Senate, the Right Honorable Amason Kingi, to make his remarks. Mr. Speaker.
Your Excellency, Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, allow me to adopt the protocols as cited by the speakers who spoke before me and proceed to make my remarks. However, Your Excellency, with your permission, allow me to make my remarks in Swahili. Wahenga walinena wakasema kwamba kupanda ngoma si ngoma, ngoma ni kushuka mchongoma. Na pia wahenga wakarudi wakasema kwamba mchamaago hanyeli, huenda akawia papo. Now, Your Excellency, if you're still with me, I'll proceed in Swahili. But clearly from the facial expressions in the entire hall, I've lost all of you. And I wouldn't want to lose you at the beginning of my remarks. So allow me to go back to my written English speech. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. For the 3 days we have been here, we have reminded ourselves of the eventful journey of devolved governance in the last decade, and indeed laid on elaborate strategies on how to take devolution to the next level. Nothing best exemplifies your dedication as champions of devolution than the commitment you have exhibited the entire duration of this conference. The 8th Devolution Conference, as intended, has provided us with an opportunity to commemorate the milestone in our 10-year devolution journey, identify challenges, and seek to formulate appropriate responses as we rekindle our commitment to the devolution cause. Throughout this conference, we have participated in engagements as broadly outlined in 5 thematic areas, but crystallized in the following key objectives. 1, to assess and propose measures that county governments can adopt to enhance transformative service delivery for improved citizens' livelihoods and a stronger business environment. 2, examine the benefits of adopting technology and digitization and the potential impact on economic development and discuss strategies for promoting innovation and digital transformation in the devolved context. 3, to reflect on the trends and challenges that have been experienced in financing the devolved sector and recommend innovative approaches for sustainable and adequate financing for county governments. 4, to evaluate the effectiveness of good governance practices in promoting equitable and sustainable development in the devolved units. And finally, examine strides made in the affirmative action agenda and propose responsive measures that can be adopted to guarantee the place of women, the youth, and the most vulnerable in governance. These constitute the thought-provoking concepts we discussed and interrogated during the plenary and breakaway sessions, culminating in practical steps that we need to take with clear timelines and mechanisms for evaluation and impact assessment. Your Excellency, as we reminisced on the long journey we have traveled to this point, I was reminded of the first cohort of senators, governors, and members of county assemblies and the difficult moments they went through as they pushed to synchronize devolution with our national development priorities. This group, of which I happen to have been part in my capacity as governor, is credited with having laid a firm foundation for devolution under very difficult circumstances. I recall assuming my responsibilities as the first governor of Kilifi County without any physical office. I had to make use of what was previously my campaign secretariat on the outskirts of Kilifi town. The same scenario was witnessed in a number of counties across the country. But today, our counties boast of good office space for governors and staff and state-of-the-art assembly premises, enabling them to serve Kenyans better. The pioneer senators, too, were not left out. They had to contend with the less than ideal Shimba Hall at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, KICC, in Nairobi, later moving to the County Hall, and finally to the current high-tech chamber at the main parliament buildings. Indeed, it has been a journey of 10 years. These humble beginnings did not dampen their spirits. In fact, it sharpened their resolve in discharging their constitutional mandate of representation, legislation, and oversight. This determination saw them secure critical footholds in favor of devolution. Back then, there was many insinuations that the Senate was a house for old men. We now know better. The Senate is, in fact, an august assembly of wise men and women, age notwithstanding. Today, we have a very vibrant, youthful Senate, oozing with wisdom and a great, tremendous appetite to protect devolution. To borrow the words of Chinua Achebe, these leaders have lived up to the true definition of the youth who have accepted to wash their hands and therefore won the right to dine on the king's table. Your Excellency, allow you to just mention but a few. Seated very next to you, we have the miracle Senator, Senator Karungo, youthful senator, Senator Methu, Senator Hezena, Senator Eddie Okech, Senator Chimera, just to mention but a few. These are young men and women who have fought and now occupy their rightful seats in the Senate. As we celebrate the gains and milestone in devolution, I invite you, distinguished delegates, to give these pioneer senators, governors, and members of County Assembly a hearty round of applause for having helped. Thank you for having helped chart a great cause of devolution in the face of adversity against numerous odds. Distinguished delegates and gentlemen, allow me at this juncture to briefly revisit the critical matter of the financial autonomy of county assemblies. In my speech at the opening ceremony, I alluded to the fact that county governments comprising the executive and county assemblies play a critical role to the success of devolution. Through their legislative mandates, county assemblies in particular have ensured counties had the necessary laws and policies on which service provision, project implementation, and grassroots development have been anchored since devolution got underway. The call for financial autonomy for our county assemblies is therefore fully merited and timely for the key reason that it will enhance their independence and elevate their role as oversight institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, as we speak, a landmark bill, County Public Finance Laws Amendment Bill 2023, sponsored by the Deputy Speaker of the Senate and Meru Senator, the Honorable Kathuri Murungi, and which seeks to grant financial autonomy to county assemblies, is pending in our legislative pipeline. Among other radical measures, this proposed legislation seeks to cure the mischief that for years has left county assemblies ensnared by whims of county treasuries as they seek money to defray their administrative expenses. When this bill becomes law, county assemblies will not have to go through county executive committees to do their requisition as is presently the case. I want to assure you that the Senate, as the overseer of devolution as per Article 96 of the Constitution, will expedite this legislation, which once enacted will help county assemblies break free from this shackle that grossly undermines their mandate, especially the mandate relating to oversight of county governments. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to conclude my remarks by commending the President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, for the bold directive he gave when he officially opened this conference on Wednesday, that all the remaining functions that have been earmarked to be devolved under Schedule 4 of the Constitution be released to the counties within 60 days. This statement, alongside the prompt release of county disbursements that he ordered 2 months ago, do confirm that in President Ruto, devolution is indeed in safe hands. As the Senate, we remain steadfast in discharging our constitutional mandate and provide an ideal environment for rollout of these functions at the county government's level. Ladies and gentlemen, let's leave Uasin-Gishu more passionate, more energized, more focused, with a single purpose to take devolution to greater heights. As we leave this place, let's engage a higher gear so that we can accelerate the progress and gains of devolution. With those few remarks, I wish to thank you for taking time to attend this conference and wish each one of you safe travel back to your destinations. May God bless us all. Thank you.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. Excellency, may I now call upon the Chairperson of the Council of Governors and the Governor of Kirinyaga, Her Excellency Anne Waiguru, to make her remarks.
Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, fellow Excellency Governors present, members of Parliament present, led by the Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Senators present, Cabinet Secretaries present, deputy governors present, principal secretaries, other national government representatives, development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. On behalf of the Council of Governors, I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to all who honored our invitation to the Devolution Conference 2023 and the first biennial conference where we have had the opportunity to reflect on a decade and a devolved system of governance in Kenya. I would also like to take this opportunity to appreciate most sincerely our staff. I've been reminded that they were not mentioned in the list of thank you. The staff of COG for their dedicated effort to make this conference a reality. Kindly give them a hand clap. I hope you have all been enriched and enlightened by the deliberations that took place in the last 2 days. It has indeed been a great honor for the Council of Governors to host this conference on behalf of the county governments. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the reflections we have had in the last 3 days took a holistic assessment of the performance of county governments in the last 10 years, bearing in mind that counties are key drivers for development and realization of the promise of devolution. It is apparent that the face of Kenya has radically transformed positively because of devolution, and that citizens have been able to access public services closer to them. Major changes were highlighted in the sectors of health, agriculture, transport and infrastructure, housing and urban development, industry and investment, youth, early childhood development, amongst others. The reflections also revealed the challenges that have bedeviled devolution since its inception, and recommendations were made on measures to address them as we begin a new decade under devolution. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, as we close this conference today, let me give a few highlights of the 3 days. First, I am very delighted that on the issue I raised on the county assembly's financial autonomy was not just confirmed by His Excellency, the President, but it took center stage in this conference and is part of the resolutions that we have highlighted at the end of the conference. We have also gotten a confirmation from the Senate that this indeed will become a reality sooner than later. We are 50% there. Secondly, the President reiterated his support for devolution with commitment to conclude the transfer of functions and resources to counties within 60 days. He also affirmed his government's commitment to devolution by ensuring the complete disbursement of all county resources at the end of the financial year 2022-2023. It is important to note that for the first time ever, resources were released to county governments on time in July during this financial year. It is our prayer that this good trend continues so that counties implement their budgets without delays and thus unlock their economic potential. Third, the conference demonstrated the reality that devolution has finally been accepted by all, as evidenced by the interest from the many individuals and organizations that participated or got involved in one way or another. The two levels of government and the other players have realized and resolved that they need to move away from competition and embrace complementarity through cooperation, collaboration, and coordination in the discharge of their mandates. This conference also demonstrated that it is a reality in Kenya today that nobody, whether in the public or private sector, can do anything outside the context of devolution. Accordingly, there is an increasing need for all players to understand the new governance framework in Kenya today. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, In the past 10 years, a number of players at the national level of government have proceeded on the basis that their sectors are not devolved and therefore have nothing to do with devolution. However, listening to the discussions on digitalization, and particularly the comments by the CS of ICT and the Director General of Communication Authority, it is apparent that even the sectors initially thought not to be devolved and having nothing to do with devolution need to understand devolution because they are either impacted by devolution or their actions impact devolution. In short, Your Excellency, nothing in this country can move forward without the involvement of counties, a reality we are all have to happily face. It was very refreshing